Result is that Republicans now look to increase their 9 to 6 seat lead on the board when the general elections are held this November. Will this movement of unsatisfied parents stepping up to make a change continue to build momentum in other states? Joining me now to discuss this and more is Meg Kilgannon, Senior Fellow for Education Studies here at Family Research Council. Meg, welcome back to the program.
Thanks, Joseph. It's great to see you.
It's great to see you. I described it a little bit, but how would you describe what we saw in Texas this week?
It is a dream come true for a lot of us who've been working in education for a number of years. The educational system does need parental supervision, and parents getting elected to these positions is really important because they will keep their children's benefit in mind, and everyone else's children too. We see so often in the educational system, it is so dominated by one kind of thinking, which is a progressive kind of thinking. And so when we elect people to the school board who maybe do have an R by their name, so often they are co-opted by the system that they find themselves in, and they become unable to hold the line and to say no time after time after time when education officials try to push the latest and most extreme policies on the school system. And that really is so often the role of conservatives on these boards is to say, no, we're not going to do that. And that is difficult. So to have some new blood running for those offices and some new energy being brought to the system is really, really wonderful development, and it will be to the benefit of everyone to have these people elected.
A lot of us agree with you on that issue. Now, the conventional political wisdom for a long time has been avoid the social issues, stick to the economic issues, the business issues. That's how you win campaigns. We saw what happened in Virginia. We see what's happening in Texas, school boards around the country. Do you think that it's true that social issues, that cultural issues are really now the political winners for conservatives?
I do. I mean, of course, we've probably thought that for a long time, but no, it's becoming clearer and clearer. There's no denying that there's a culture war that's being waged against traditional values. And even if you don't want to fight that fight, it is coming for you. And so we really must engage in this space. There are just things that are true about the dignity of the human person and who is male and who is female that are undeniable truths that really apply to, that are embraced by people on the left and the right side of the aisle. And so this is why you're seeing more energy around these issues. And it's a welcome development. We cannot allow these things to happen in the in the side meetings of the school board or off the voting agenda that get thrown onto the consent portion of the agenda of school board meetings and not openly debated. You know, we can't allow these things to happen behind closed doors. Because people are often surprised at how extreme the situation is. But these things have been discussed behind closed doors instead of in the open air of public debate. So having our side represented there and having people who share our worldview there will make it possible to have a more thorough examination of these issues and truly come to some kind of consensus on these matters.
And that is tremendously important. One of the other trends that I think we're seeing is these races that were local, they were school board, they were obscure. In some cases, you're getting dozens of people to vote rather than millions of people to vote. Do you think it's a good thing that so much more attention is now being given to these really hyper local races?
I do. They are the ones that affect your life most directly. And so we all know that turnout for national elections like president is higher than turnout in statewide elections like for your United States senator or for a governor. And it gets even lower when it comes to offices like school board or county commissioner. But, you know, it's the school board that's going to be in charge of the education for your community. And I always like to say, you know, global citizens aren't bringing me a casserole when we have a crisis in our family. My neighbors are doing that. And so we want to educate children that are going to be a part of a community and understand that family and local involvement really is the best side of life. So we need to preserve those spaces, and we need to make sure that our views are reflected in those spaces and that we don't allow ourselves to be absent from those discussions.
Now, Meg, you don't just talk about these issues. You've been busy doing something about them as well. You've been helping lead our FRC school board boot camps around the country. Tell us what you're trying to accomplish. Tell us how those are going.
They're going so beautifully. We have so many wonderful people who are really ready to step into the fray and run for office. So we have our school board boot camps, and you can find out about those at frcaction.org/schools. And you can see our online boot camp training there for candidates. And then last weekend, we had the first ever alternative school board training for conservatives in Virginia. And we're hoping to take this across all the states. But it was really wonderful to provide conservative school board members with a place where they could gather and talk about ideas and get information that was not, you know, of a partisan nature. They were able to connect with each other and to ask questions of experts. And this is the kind of support we have to provide for people like those candidates in Texas who've just won their primary and now they're going to be on the ballot. If they're elected to the state school board, they're going to need help and resources so that they can maintain their values and they can defend our principles. And so we're trying to set up this, with the Noah Webster Education Foundation, a conservative alternative to the School Board Association. So we're doing lots of great things. They're all on our FRC Action website at frcaction.org/schools. And we would love for you to be involved.
Well, we do want people to be involved. And Meg Kilgannon, I will just say that when you think about alternative school board trainings, you don't obviously think about conservatives, but it is a brand new world that we're living in where the conservatives are the alternative and increasingly becoming an appealing alternative, clearly, to the voters. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Joseph.